ocean wide, from down, down underneath the sea.
I'm Rear Admiral Thomas M. Dykers, retired. No matter how many patrols a submariner may have to his credit, there is always one that stands out in his memory. For the officers and men of the USS Pargo, such a patrol was the 7th, on which we base this story. On a special assignment, the Pargo played a dramatic and vital role, one so unusual that her ship's company could never have guessed what was in store for them. The story really begins in Sydney, Australia on 3 September 1939, only hours after Great Britain and the Dominions had declared war against Germany.
It's an awe-inspiring sight, really. Downtown Sydney completely overflowing with people. Traffic in an absolute standstill. Men and women queuing up to enlist and serve in a war we never wanted.
Paul, I didn't hear you come in.
With all that noise, it's understandable.
All that din and the hysteria frightened me.
Carol, you should have seen it. Thousands of people, all thinking one thing. Join up. Get on with it. Get it over with quickly.
You were there. Paul, did you join up?
Wasn't much choice, was there? Think you'd mind marrying a soldier, lady?
Paul, don't.
Even that doesn't change things, does it? Doesn't make the slightest difference. Incredible.
I love you, Paul.
People in love get married. Carol, listen to me. I respect your father and his work. It takes quite a man to be a missionary. But that doesn't...
He only wants us to wait, Paul. We have to. At least until that's over.
That could be years.
I couldn't leave him. He'd be so lonely.
You wouldn't be the only one. Carol?
What can I say, Paul?
You've already said it. Goodbye, Carol.
Paul Bayer's estimate was conservative. In 1945, 6 years later, Australia, along with the rest of the world, was still at war. The city of Fremantle had done more than her share, being as she was a principal base for American submarines. One of these was the USS Pargo. Spick and span and shining as a result of an extensive refitting job, the submarine lay moored and ready, waiting for her next patrol. Her skipper was Lieutenant Commander David B. Bell of Washington, D.C. A former executive officer of the Pargo, Bell had been given command, and his record more than justified it. Lieutenant Creighton W. Cook of Syracuse, New York, was gunnery officer. And Lieutenant Edward D. Hogg, a former engineer from New Orleans, was executive officer.
Let's recheck the last part. Replacement of petometer log sword arm. New speed gear for the bowplane rigging. New slotted type SJ reflector. Both periscopes pulled and overhauled. That do it, Craig?
To the T. As soon as the skipper gets back, we...
Refit checks on all details, Captain.
Fine. Let's shove off then.
That sure didn't waste any time. Well, here goes number 7. 7? Ought to be a fine patrol. Well, I can't miss the lucky 7.
Nice thought. Hold on to it.
On 15 January 1945, the Pargo moved out of Fremantle Harbor. She headed straight for her assigned patrol area, the dangerous ground of the South China Sea. There was no way of knowing it, but the area was to earn its name.
Come on, Coogan. One move, you can pick up all the marbles. What's to think? Boy, I wonder how long till chow. Stew today. Cook's got a real touch with stew. Them big dumplings. Boy. What's a-looking? What'd I do?
You and your practical jokes, killer. You know how easy he gets seasick.
I was just trying to help. Oh, he's been out on 7 patrols and he still gets seasick. You gotta take drastic action. It's like when a guy's scared of the water. You throw him in, either he swims or he drowns. Same kind of thinking. What's so wrong?
Okay, if I play for Coogan, he shouldn't blow the tournament just because he gets sick.
Be just as happy without that haze.
I imagine the flounder feels the same way, Captain.
She in the area? We just decoded a message to her, if you've heard.
He's picking up 2 Australian commandos, landing them on an island.
I think you know one of them, Captain. Dennis, Major Cully Dennis. I'll say I do. Wonderful fella. He's about the...
Bridge, sonar sound contact bearing 010.
How's it sound like?
Hard to tell, the signal's pretty mushy.
Steady as you go.
Steady as you go.
Sounds like we got more out there than just haze.
Battle stage! Battle stage!
Be the lucky 7th at that. I got that baby just where I want him.
All torpedo tubes ready.
Final bearing and shoot. Bearing. Mark.
018.
Set. Shoot.
Fire 1. Fire 2. Fire 3. Fire 4.
Running hot and straight. Right under the stack. Take it east, rig for depth charge.
Still getting breaking up noises from true bearing of target, Captain.
You mean what's left of it? Depth?
140. 45.
Take it right down to 300 feet. Turn on your speaker.
Making 3 propellers, Captain.
Get used to it. They'll be around for quite a while. Heading?
Due north, Captain.
Bring her west. Steer 270.
Bring her west. Steer 270.
Let them do a little guessing.
Captain Bell knew his business. With depth charges dropping from the 3 angry escorts, he was still evading skillfully, almost 300 feet of sea above him. The sea, however, is noted for the unexpected.
All start. Rig for solid running.
We're on the bottom, Captain.
Probably on a coral head. What is it?
Sound dead, sir. I think we wrecked the sound heads when we hit.
That's all we needed. I don't like this kind of evasion, but we'll just have to sit it out. With all these coral heads around, they'll have trouble trying to spot us. Settle down. Maybe a long wait.
It was close to 4 hours of it, to the accompaniment of never-ending depth charges and nerve-jangling sound of hull against coral. But finally, the waiting was over. Cautiously, Pargo headed up towards periscope depth.
Nice empty sea. Any luck with that yet?
Dead, sir. Probably sheared the sound heads clean off.
Fine. Probably be the shortest patrol in history. HQ in Perth isn't about to let us continue without sound heads.
Shall I get a message off to Perth, Captain? Tell them what happened?
Nothing else we can do. Go ahead. Any further comment on the lucky 7th?
News of the Pargo's predicament was immediately radioed to headquarters in Perth, and predicament was the correct word, for a submarine without her sound heads in good order is indeed in trouble. She cannot hear to evade properly, cannot echo range, is in fact a combat unit, which would be at a great disadvantage in any form of submerged combat.
You wanted me, Captain?
Answer from Perth.
I'm afraid to ask.
It's better than I expected. We're not going back. We're on special assignment. And it could be pretty interesting.
You know I can't take suspense.
I found us in the next area to the north. We're to rendezvous with her, take aboard those Australian commandos, and land them on Woody Island in the Paracels. Then wait for them.
Cloak and dagger stuff, huh?
And these boys just about invented it. That Cully Dennis, a fabulous fella.
Isn't he the one who set up all those Coast Watcher stations in the islands?
Yeah, that's the one. Be real nice to see him again. We lived in the same recoup house in Perth. The rest of us be trying to catch up on our sleep. He'd be out rowing to keep in shape. That kind of a fella. Something tells me he hasn't changed.
Cully, hey. Wonderful to see you again.
Oh, ready accommodating you Yanks. Dave Bell is me private chauffeur, eh? That's a bit of all right.
Major Cully Dennis, Ed Hogg, my executive officer.
Glad to know you, Ed. This is Private Paul Bayer. Dave Bell, Ed Hogg.
Private,
Right night, Paul.
let us see what we can do about getting you bunked down.
Well, don't go to any bother on our account, Carver. We can sleep stand up. We have to, right, Paul?
Nah, we take better care of our guests than that. Come on.
All right, come on, Paul.
And this seems to be about the best way. Now, we come in here, put you and Bayer over the side in a rubber boat. That gives you about a mile to shore. Next night, we're waiting for you in the same position.
Should do the trick nicely.
You allowed to discuss the reason for the job?
Well, to you. See, I'm afraid our cagey friends are pulling a bit of a fraud. Patrol aircraft reported that the island's flying a French flag, though we're right sure it's Japanese hell. It's a shabby trick, wouldn't you say?
If that's what it is.
Well, that's what we're gonna find out. Something else on your mind, Dave?
Curiosity, maybe.
Knew you'd ask eventually. Paul Bayer?
I figure he's quite a fella if you'd team up with him, but...
I know. He's a strange chap. Really a word out of him. Just all-out hatred. But he's the best commando I know. I've seen him at work, Dave.
There's usually a reason in the back of a thing like that.
Yeah, there is. There's a girl. She and her father were missionaries on one of these islands. Japanese overran it. Probably still prisoners. Now, Bayer loved that girl very much.
I don't get it. I just don't get it, that's all.
What now, Keller?
Him. That's a commando? Yeah, they got a major, sure. Him I buy, but that nervous little guy? Always by himself? Never talks, always worrying? That's a commando? A little bitty guy?
I don't know. There's something about him.
No.
terribly sorry. Are you all right? Terribly sorry. It was just a reflex.
Oh, boy, I'd hate to run into you when you're mad. Oh.
48 hours later, Pargo lay 1 mile off her destination, Woody Island, in the Paracel.
Luck, Cully. We will have. As long as you're back here at 2100.
You can count on it.
Think that island is really Japanese held, Captain?
If it is, they're unlucky Japanese. Those are two rough boys.
That's what we want, Paul. That high ridge. Right, come on.
Not much doubt. He's Japanese. We'll know about the rest of the island as soon as it's light. Compound should be over there.
It's a long time to wait just for one look. Want me to go see what I can find right now?
We'll wait.
Yes.
Oh, it's more than just a look, Paul. I didn't want to say it before and get your hopes up, but there's a good chance there's more on this island than just Japanese. Latest intelligence reports, well, they're a bit vague, but they mentioned an imprisoned missionary and a daughter.
Carol? Major, is it?
Possibly, or we'll know soon enough. One thing settled. It's Japanese held.
They're in one of those huts. But which?
We'll find that out the moment his relief comes.
Major?
First hut, one guard. We can't wait till dark. They'll have missed him by that time. Get his clothes off, will you, Paul?
He's my size. It's my job, sir. Please, Major.
All right, Paul. Go ahead. You understand, Paul. If the father's dead, chances are the girl's dead, too.
I know.
Well, we can't hang around here. They'll find those two guards soon enough. Best chance to get back to the beach.
You'll have to wait, Major. But not for long.
Carol, it's all right. All right. Carol, listen to me. We're going to have some company in a few seconds. Just do as I say.
Major? No, only this one. They were looking for us soon enough. Well, it's still 4 hours to rendezvous, but I think our chances are better if we do our waiting out there, right, Paul?
Never did care for Island out here. Let's go.
There was no waiting, however. The Pargo surfacing the moment the small rubber boat reached the point of rendezvous.
Take them below, Ed. See that they're comfortable.
Hey, a bit early, aren't you?
We never left. Just wanted to be sure you had somewhere to go.
Never so ruddy glad to see a periscope in my life.
We aim to please.
Hey, there's something else you can do.
You just name it.
Turn that 5-incher of yours loose on that island. I think the results will be interesting. That's what I wanted to see.
You were right. Pretty shabby trick.
Air Force chaps will do a proper job tomorrow, now that we know.
Cease fire!
Cease fire! Mind if I go below, Dave, have a look at Barry and the girl? And I'm real grateful.
And you're quite a fella. Bear and the girl all right?
Holding hands like they'll never let go.
That's the way it should be. Let's head for home, Ed.
Right, Captain.
And Ed, about that lucky 7. You knew what you were talking about.
I'll be back in a moment with our special guest. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you the man who was actually the USS Pargo's skipper, Captain David B. Bell. Dave, I guess I don't have to ask how the Australian commandos impressed you.
There seems to be unanimous opinion about that, Tommy. They were wonderful men and wonderful fighters. I'm sure your own experiences will make you back that up.
Completely. I wish we had time to go more into detail about them.
There was one interesting experience that I think might add something.
What was that, Dave?
One of the Japanese sentries had a police dog that discovered our 2 commandos. They backed up under the cover of some brush very quietly while the dog stood pointing at them for about 10 minutes.
What was the sentry doing all this time?
He was tending some fishing lines over by a small pier, and fortunately he got a bite.
It was lucky for our commandos that the fishing was good down there.
That's right, but still our commandos decided it was best to get out of there. They had hoped to pick up some souvenirs, but they didn't have time. As one of them went over the beach, he picked up a shell and brought it back to me, and I have it here, made into an ashtray. It is a souvenir I prize very highly.
It's a beauty, Dave. I want to thank you for coming all the way from Norfolk to be with us.
It's a real pleasure for me, Admiral.
Please be with us again for another exciting story of the silent service.
And lie through the deep blue underneath the ocean. We'll control the ocean wide. From down, down underneath the sea. Safe and forth we'll pass the word in the future yet to be. That we're safe as long as there's a submarine underneath the sea. So rig for dive and make the gun. Down, down, go down, down, underneath the ocean.